Also, just keep it in context the same way. Once you believe Mubarak Gilani knows your secrets, knows what's going on, you buy into that, right? Then what happens is like you're in a state of asking him for something. You just confessed like your dirtiest deeds that nobody knew about besides you and Allah, and you just told this guy, and now you're asking like, I need a prescription. In this case, where like the person had a miscarriage, you're like, I need something to prevent miscarriages. So, and this ties into where witchcraft was done. Straight up witchcraft was done on this person. The prescription sent by Mubarak Gilani was that certain things had to be read at exactly high noon, right? Had to be done at high noon, and the prescription involved. They had the Hafiz Shafiq, may Allah forgive him, was reciting, blowing, tying knots into a string,
witchcraft,
dipping it into some kind of like a mixture of like saffron and different stuff, tying it into knots, a certain number of knots, and then the person had to wear this around their neck as a protection from miscarriages. So this is how it plays into like having dirt on, because then what happens is when the person messes up, you hear the phrase by the leaders of Tmoa, you don't remember what Mubarak Gilani did for you? You don't remember what the Sheikh did for you? Right? Because what they turn into like, oh, the Sheikh knows your dirty secret and he still helped you. He helped you so much and he didn't reveal your secret to anybody. And now you're indebted to that person. And it's used as a guilt trip for people that have questions, that want to voice anything. Because just think about how many, like a brother just passed away recently, older brother. May Allah bless him, forgive him, raise his station, and give his family peace. He was kicked out of the Jamaat. Why? And I respect the brother for this, because they were doing Jamaat confessions. Everybody had to go to the masjid and confess all their sins. This brother stood up and said, this is not right. This is what Christians do. This is wrong. K2 pretty much screamed at the older brother, his senior, and said, get the hell out of here. And kicked him out the Jamaat. And he was kicked out ever since. So like this whole confession thing, you see it in every cult. You see it in Scientology where they do the little thing where they put the sensors on and people tell their little dirty deeds and they're supposed to get rid of like your Plutons or something like that. Every cult has a system of like confession, airing out your grievances or whatever. And you'll see that some even take notes, have documents, tapes, recordings, and then later it's used as a way to blackmail you, whether it's a guilt trip or it's actual like real blackmail.
So, Jaffer, I have got to, and this is no joke, this might, but it's not. Mm-hmm. I mean, do you really think we are supposed to believe that they recited some Quran and actually blew on knots, like tied knots on string, when everybody knows that there is a surah in Quran, قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد, that ayah actually says we should seek refuge from Allah for those people who blow on knots. Like that's the actual ayah. I mean, it almost feels like you're just trolling, like, okay, I'm just gonna throw this in there because it's literally in Quran. It's a clear contradiction, and doing magic like that is kufr. So because that's what it would be. I mean, we can call it a ceremony, call it whatever you want. That would be magic. I mean, Allah literally tells us to seek refuge from people who do that. And if you are saying that there was a ceremony directed by Gilani that someone should recite certain things, blow on some knots, and do all these things, this sounds like kufr to me. So who else was there? I mean, were there is there people that we can verify that this actually happened? Not to say we don't believe you, but this is a serious thing. So is there anyone that you can name that you know of that was there too, that we could check with them and say, were you at this magic ceremony?
Hafiz Shafak was there. He's the one that did it, and may Allah forgive the young boy, but you could tell it was the thing was so awkward. Like I had to leave. Like this is like my Fitrah was like, yo, this isn't right, and I feel bad because the person that was going through it, we all knew it was wrong. Well, we still went through because I was still like partly on the juice, like, no, this is gonna work, you know. And you know, and you could tell Shafak when he was there, when Hussein Adams who was there, Khadija Smith who was there, when they were like reading the instructions and doing it, you could see like he was very nervous, very like uncomfortable doing what he did. But those
So
are the people that were there.
so these instructions, where they were reading them from out of what?
Mubarak Gilani had taken pictures of some book and sent them text message to Hussein Adams. And it was like an Urdu with certain things circled and notes and how to do it. So it came directly from, whether it's through Noor or whatever, it was right on Hussein Adams' phone from Mubarak Gilani.
And I just got confirmation on the side that Mubarak Gilani said it was okay because you're reading the Quran. So nothing bad can happen to you.
And we know that like this is part of the magic, is that they mix in Holy Quran. And the thing is, like, I wish I had the instructions, because like, for instance, like he had to read specific ayats from specific surahs in a certain order. And we know when you do that, you can actually like say something really blasphemy, right? Like if you take one ayat and add it to another ayat. Say you take an ayat about Allah and you add it to an ayat that's talking about shaitan, and you read them together. You're saying something that's blasphemous. And this is what they do, because you think naturally, oh, it's Holy Quran. How can you do anything wrong with Holy Quran? But this is actually what magicians do. And this, if anybody says like, what's the straw that kind of broke the back, this was it, because I followed through with this prescription. We did everything in accordance to the directives, made sure that we like making all the salats, not watching any TV, any TMOA taboo was like, we ain't doing any of that, right? And the person had to wear the necklace the whole pregnancy, still had a miscarriage. And the person literally was on their deathbed, about to die. I'm watching the person die in front of my eyes. Like, you can just imagine, like I already, and many people don't know this, I already have a child buried on the land that I cannot go see ever while the land's still there. I could never go visit my own child's grave. And you're watching a person go through this as something that like you recommended for them to do, dying in front of your face. So it's like even a word. Not only did, before we just lost a child, like and there's certain blessings that come with that. It was a test, it was a trial, but we just lost a child. Now a child and the person's dying. And then I'm again reaching out to, I need help, Sheikh, what to do? Only response is, make sure you take that necklace off that person, otherwise they will bleed to death. That was the response. And I'm literally sitting here like, what do you mean that this necklace will cause the person to bleed to death? To me, that sounds like it was there to cause a miscarriage.
It was planned, yeah.
Right? Isn't that exactly like, Mubarak, you're in the medical field. Isn't that literally like when a babe, when he miscarries, the blood or the clot or it bleeds out pretty much. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it was ridiculous. And then I waited. Okay, whatever. Took the necklace off. Alhamdulillah, the person survived, and it was a lesson. And it's tough. It's tough to recognize the lessons and the blessings that Allah sends in the forms of tests and trials, because as tough as it was probably the greatest blessing to me, because it was because even days after, like Mubarak, you're in the medical field. Say a doctor prescribes your patient, hey, try this prescription. And say for some reason it was the wrong prescription, almost kills the person. How do you think the doctor would come back to that patient after recovered from suffering from their wrong prescription? What do you think the doctor would say, do? What do you think?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of the doctors, they try to blame it on someone else. They'll say, I wrote the prescription, the right prescription, but it was read wrong. It was transcribed wrong. Or I gave it verbally.
A Muslim honorable doctor.
Yeah, they would. Any person who knows that they were at fault for something, doctor, what they should do, is they should say, hey, that's my bad. Let's get it corrected. Let me recheck what I did. Right. Okay, this is what I did wrong. I got the solution, or I don't know the solution.
Even if it was our fault, you guys did X, you took it 3 times a day instead of 2 times a day. Something to explain what happened. Didn't receive one word, no apology, Not even like, oh, how are you doing? Everything okay? Nothing. Not one thing. That was one of the things like, okay, something is up. Something is up. And at that time, I'm still like, maybe it's admin, maybe it's Noor, right? It's not the perfect shake.